So it says that Samuel, early in the morning, in verse 12, Samuel got up and went to meet Saul, and he was told, Saul has gone to Carmel. There he has set up a monument in his own honor, and turned and gone down to Gilgal. Now we see a very unrepentant Saul, and he's very defensive all along until when Samuel makes that statement about, doesn't the Lord delight in burnt offerings? He has already gone ahead and made a monument for himself in his own honor. It doesn't seem that he has in any way captured the heart of God concerning this matter. In fact, he seems very comfortable about what he's just done, and it doesn't occur to him that, wait a minute, I've messed up here. And even when it has occurred to him, he doesn't want to admit it. And we see that all the time. We mess up. We know that we have messed up. We know that we've done the wrong thing, but we will not admit it. And so Samuel is mad. He's upset. In fact, he's so upset, he's the one who kills Agag himself. But anyway, that's something else that we'll discuss. But Samuel says to him that if you have carried out your mission, remember that Saul has come out very excitedly to meet him, and Samuel, when Samuel reaches him, he says, "The Lord bless you. I have carried out the Lord's instruction." Totally oblivious of what is the implication of what he's just done, and even the extent of sin, and how and how much is going to change his life. But Samuel said, "What then is this bleating of sheep in my ears? What then is this? What then? If then you have carried out your mission." And sometimes we could be so ignorant or arrogant about what we've done for the Lord, and yet it hasn't been completely done according to his word and according to his instruction, because we chose what we wanted to do. And so to God it's not done. But Samuel said, "What then is the bleating of sheep that I hear? What is the lowing of cattle?" And what does he say? What does he say? What does Saul say to that? The soldiers brought. But whose soldiers are they? They're his soldiers. And he says he was afraid of them. In verse 24 it says, "I have sinned, I violated the Lord's command and your instruction. I was afraid of the men, and so I gave in to them." What do we give in to? What do we give in to? Even when the Lord's commands are so clear, we give in. And because of that, Samuel was stripped of his crown. Saul was stripped of his crown. Samuel said to him, "I will not go back with you." Because Saul had said, "Now I beg you, forgive my sin and come back with me." He thought he could just cover it up very quickly like that, as a verbal forgiveness, not knowing that Samuel had always represented the Lord. And Samuel says, "I will not go back with you. You have rejected the word of the Lord, and the Lord has rejected you as king over Israel." Remember, he had said that to obey is better than sacrifice. And now we're going to see what is going to be the consequence of this disobedience. But Saul is still bent on the sacrifice of this sheep that he was supposed to destroy. And it must have been really aggravating for Samuel, because all that the Lord wanted was obedience, not blood, not a sacrifice of meat and roasted meat at that. He didn't want that. He just wanted people to learn to obey him, and that king in particular to learn to obey him. But Samuel said to him, "I'll not go back with you. You have rejected the word of the Lord, and the Lord has rejected you as king over Israel." And Samuel turned to leave, and Saul caught the hold of them of the garment, that is the robe, and it tore. And Samuel said to him, "The Lord has torn the kingdom of Israel from you today," as if to demonstrate, "and has given it to one of your neighbors, to one better than you. He who is the glory of Israel does not lie or change his mind. He who is the glory of Israel does not lie or change his mind, for he is not a man, he's not a human being, that he should change his mind. Saul replied, I have sinned, but please honor me. That's all he cared about, what people thought of him. He still hasn't grasped, and he just wants a quick release. Let's get this forgiveness thing out of the way, but please honor me in front of the elders, before the elders of my people and before Israel. Come back with me so that I may worship the Lord your God. So is he really worshiping God then? Having disobeyed him, would you call that worship? Or is it a show? Is it a show to the elders and the Israelites? Isn't he just looking for acclaim and public, endorsement or something? The attention and the favor of men? And Samuel said, bring me Agag the king. So Samuel goes back with Saul, and Saul worshipped the Lord. And Samuel himself says, bring me Agag king of Amalekites. Remember, this is an old man now, Samuel. And Agag came with chains, and Samuel put Agag to death before the Lord. And Samuel left for Ramah and went up to his home in Gibeah, of Saul. But Saul went up to his house or his home in Gibeah of Saul, until the day Samuel died, just to demonstrate the kind of relationship they had. A very strained relationship after that. Until the day that Samuel died, he did not see Saul again, though Samuel mourned for him, and the Lord regretted that he had made Saul king over Israel. I'm gonna focus on the instruction here was very clear, and Saul says it in verse 17. And it says that Saul said, although you were once small in your own eyes, did you not become the head of the tribes of Israel? The Lord had established Saul. The Lord himself had picked him up in a very humble setting when he was looking for the donkeys belonging to his father. The Lord anointed him king over Israel. And even in his own eyes, Saul was not worthy of that honor. But we see him now going ahead to make a monument in his own name, in his own honor. He set up a monument in his own honor and went and did whatever he wanted to do, because even the instructions of God did not seem to matter much to him anymore. Don't you get to that place sometimes when the acclaim of men matters more than what God says? And because of our position in the earth realm, we forget that there is a God who set us up in that position in the first place. And he sent you, that is Samuel talking about the Lord, he sent you on a mission saying, go and completely destroy those wicked people, the Amalekites. Wage war against them until you have wiped them out. Why did you not obey the Lord? Is it pride? Was it arrogance? Was he trying to make a show? Was he trying to be independent of God and please people and not the Lord himself? Why did you pounce on the plunder and do evil in the eyes of the Lord? And he gets very defensive. I did obey the Lord, he says. The soldiers are the ones who took the sheep, he says. And yet he was still responsible for the soldiers. We cannot blame anybody or anything else for our disobedience. We have to take responsibility. And Saul here is very reluctant to admit his own mistake. Does the Lord delight in burnt offering and sacrifices? Whatever the sacrifice would have been, it didn't matter anymore because of the disobedience. To obey is better than sacrifice, and to heed better than the fat of rams. For rebellion is like the sin of divination. Rebellion is like the sin of divination. Divining is seeking to consult other gods. And rebellion was equated to that, and arrogance like the evil of idolatry. Look at that. Look at that, arrogance. And Saul already saw the problem here with Saul. Samuel already saw the problem here with Saul. He was arrogant and he wanted to show off and he wanted to look like the best and he wanted to protect an image. He wanted to portray an image. And friends, this was his downfall. And so the same way that he snatches at the garment and tears it off of Samuel, his own kingdom is torn away from him. And it says that the Lord has torn the kingdom of Israel from you today and has given it to one of your neighbors, to one better than you. One better than you. He who is the glory of Israel does not lie or change his mind, for he is not a human being that he should change his mind. One better than him. It would be sad to know that your kingdom is going to be taken away from you. What is your kingdom? What is it that God put in your hands that you suddenly scorn and have now scorned him, and you're going to lose or could lose because you no longer listen to the voice of God? Him who gave you that territory, that position, that property, that name, that honor, that position, could take it away from you if you don't heed to his voice. And it says here that the man that God would put in his hands, this kingdom, would be a man after his own heart. And it became clear that the Lord was not going to change his mind about that. So let us ponder about that. Ponder about that. Whose approval are we seeking? Do we want the Lord's approval, or do we want the approval of men? When he says get rid of, God means get rid of everything. So let us follow the instruction. What is the instruction God gave you? Follow it to the letter. Because if you don't, he will give that which he put in your possession into somebody else's hands, and that person will be someone who follows his heart. Who follows his heart. That's what God really wants. That we follow his heart. So maybe not reject the word of the Lord. We'll see you next with chapter 16.